With over 40 dining options on Star of the Seas and restaurants costing anywhere from $15 to $200 per person, how do you know which ones are actually worth your hard-earned vacation dollars? We just spent over $700 testing nearly every specialty restaurant on the ship, and I'm going to rank them to let you know which ones are worth every penny and which ones you should skip entirely. If you're new here, I'm Kat, and my goal is to help you make smarter cruise choices so you can create the best vacation possible. Now, we've eaten at nearly every specialty restaurant on Star of the Seas, plus we've tried all the comparable venues on Icon and other Royal Caribbean ships. So this isn't going to be just about food quality. I'm also ranking these restaurants by value that you get for your money. Because here's the thing, nothing worse than spending your dollars on what turns out to be cafeteria food with fancy plating when you could have had a good meal at the main dining room for free. So I'm going to give you this honest book this, skip that recommendation so you know exactly where your money will give you the best experience. And if you love cruise tips that help make better decisions for your vacation, make sure you hit that like button to let me know and subscribe for more videos. So let's start with the top tier, and these are the restaurants that I feel are absolutely worth it if they fit within your budget. And the first one is going to be Lincoln Park Supper Club. Now, let me be completely honest here, it is a very expensive meal. And if you don't have the money to spend on it, don't. But if you can afford it and you really want to splurge, we were very pleasantly surprised by how nice the experience was. I actually debated it for a couple months before booking it. I mean, what do you get for $200 a person for a meal? But here's something important about booking. On our sailing, it sold out in 48 hours after they opened it for reservation, and that was 2 months before sailing. After that, I saw online pricing that showed cheaper rates, but it was still sold out, which kind of felt misleading, honestly. People in our Facebook groups were losing their reservations because they thought they can cancel and rebook at the lower price, and they couldn't do that. It was sold out. So we did end up paying the full $200 per person. Here's what you get with this meal. It's not just the food. This was an experience that transported you to a different time and era for a couple of hours. You're paying for the ambiance and the atmosphere. It's almost like being in a movie. That's kind of how I felt like. And here's what you actually get for that money. You get 8 courses, 8 full cocktails, and live entertainment. So when you break it down, those cocktails alone would have cost you $80 to $100 at the bars around the ship. And the premium food and the jazz quartet, it's suddenly that $200 starts making sense. So I will do a full video about it and describe all the food. You can see what we ate. It is definitely a nice splurge. The next one on the list is going to be Izumi Hibachi, and this is always the hottest ticket on any Royal Caribbean ship. The good times usually book up first, so you want to reserve it as soon as it opens up in your cruise planner. Now, let me be honest about something. Their performance is really uniform across every ship. Some people will find it boring and repetitive. Most people that like it, like us, they find it entertaining and fun. You're getting that classic hibachi show with the egg and the chicken tricks and the onion volcanoes and tossing food at people's mouths hoping that they'll catch it. It's definitely a family-friendly, but still somewhat sophisticated enough for adults atmosphere. And it's a lot of great food. Their choices include filet mignon, lobster, scallops, shrimp, and chicken. So definitely worth it if you like that kind of a dinner. Next one on the list is Chops Grill, and we go to Chops Grill pretty much on every cruise, and we always enjoy it. Their service is uniformly amazing across the fleet. You know what to expect with food, and Royal Caribbean does a really good job of having good standards for their Chops Grill location. So this is your consistent steakhouse quality, and if you want premium dining experience without the Lincoln Park price tag, this is your best bet. It's perfect for special occasions or just a nice dinner, and the steaks are always cooked exactly how we order them. Now let's talk about the middle tier, and these are restaurants that are good but with some caveat. And by the way, if you find this video informative, hit that like button to let me know. So the first restaurant on this list is going to be Giovanni's Italian. And I feel like it's better for lunch because the main dining room has some really good menu options on certain days that are actually better than what you will find here. So if you're trying to mix that main dining room with specialty dining, Giovanni's would not be my first choice for dinner, but I love it for lunch. For dinner, I would probably go to Izumi or Chop's Grill first or Hooked. But I don't care for the location also on this ship. On both Star and Icon, Giovanni's is right there in the busy promenade. So it doesn't feel as elegant and secluded as other specialty dining places at this price point. Again, for lunch, it doesn't matter. But for dinner, if you want that elegant, quiet dinner, you're not going to get it at the Giovanni's. This is where you can find better value again at lunch. And they do have some amazing food. Their meat planks are overflowing with variety of cold cuts and cheeses. And they have this huge meatball, which is their well-known appetizer. It is very delicious. And they make some really good, fresh, authentic Italian pizzas that you can order. Hooked Seafood is a great restaurant, but it's only for people that really like seafood. With that said, we love seafood, but in our experience, it wasn't as good as on Icon. And I've heard many people underwhelmed by Hooked on this ship, but again, it was one sailing. This is where I'm saying food is subjective. So, you could have a completely different experience. We found personally that the crab cake appetizer there was not nearly as good as the one in Chops, which is a steakhouse. The baked oysters were not bad, and the lobster was pretty good, but nothing compared to the lobster thermidor in 150 Central Park, which unfortunately is not on this ship. So if you're a seafood lover, you will probably enjoy it, but if you're not completely sold on seafood, then there are definitely better options for your dinner. Next on my list is Izumi Sushi, and this was really well done. We went there for lunch and we ordered a number of sushi rolls and a beef teriyaki bowl. In fact, we had champagne lobster roll, baked snow crab and salmon dynamite roll, which is a warm baked roll with creamy snow crab that's perfect for those that don't like raw fish, and truffled creamy lobster tempura roll, which had the tempura style lobster on top of each piece. The sushi was well prepared with great flavor, and beef teriyaki bowl was excellent. This is perfect if you love Japanese food but don't want the loud hibachi experience, and it's a much more intimate and quiet. The only reason it's at this spot is because not everybody likes sushi, and especially raw fish sushi, so that's why it's not a spot that I would say everybody has to go eat. But if you like sushi, it's definitely amazing. Now here's an interesting one. It's Pier 7. I've heard many people not liking it and saying that it's the worst on the ship. When the ship was being built, they were actually talking about removing Pier 7, but then when it came out, it was still there, so that was a surprise. We actually did enjoy it. Kevin had the steak quesadillas and I had the shrimp tostadas, which were very delightful. One of them had an egg on it, which I didn't expect to have egg on Mexican food, but it was wonderful. So I don't understand why people don't like it, other than maybe it's different and it has that California style food that maybe doesn't appeal to everybody. Kids 12 and under eat free there, so that makes it a great value for families. We thought it was kind of funny how overdressed the hosts were for a restaurant that's tailored to families at a pool area. And they did serve wine in plastic glasses, which doesn't taste the same as wine in glass glasses, but I understand it's all for pool safety. Now, for the restaurants, I would skip paying for unless you have a very specific reason or an all-inclusive package. Izumi in the park is a very convenient option to have, and I would recommend those skipping paying for it and just go for Izumi Sushi instead, unless you're pressed for time and you just want a quick bite. The freshly made sushi in the restaurant has so many more ingredients and options compared to what you get with Izumi in the park that grab-and-go sushi is good, but it resembled that what you would get at a local grocery store that has that sushi station. It's satisfying, but it's not the best. The sit-down experience is definitely much better. We love Playmakers concept and atmosphere with all the sports screens and TVs, and we usually end up at Playmakers at least once on every cruise that we sail on that has that venue. But having all the other options on the ship, I just think it's a weaker choice. Oftentimes we get burgers there, which are usually excellent. On this cruise, we had the chicken wings and the onion rings tower, and it was good. It was nothing wrong with it. Again, it's just not as good as the other options on the ship, and you can only eat so much in a day. With that said, if those sports bar style menu items are what you love to eat, you won't be disappointed here. Now let me talk about how beautiful the milkshake at Deserted Milkshake Bar are and how elaborate they are. I mean, they are Instagram-worthy creations with all sorts of toppings and decorations. It's a work of art. I can't say anything there, but here's the thing. Those desserts and milkshakes, they're great, but one shake has more calories than an adult should have in half a day. And it will fill you up so much that you can't eat at all the other restaurants, which are really good. So with so much included food on the ship, this would not be my choice to spend money on. Let me mention a couple of other options. We didn't do Starbucks because we have a diamond status and we get free cappuccinos in the Diamond Lounge. But for people that love Starbucks, it is the actual Starbucks with the full menu, so you'll love that there. And the Vitality Spa Cafe, it has the freshly squeezed juices and smoothies. We didn't make it there on this sailing just because we ran out of times that we could eat, but these are always a great healthy alternatives to all those heavy meals that you eat on the ship. Now, about dining packages. We were on a back-to-back sailings. We had a 4-day plus a 3-day, so we bought the unlimited dining package for the 3-day sailing for $100 per person, which made sense for that short cruise. However, if I were on one 7-day sailing on Star of the Seas with so many included food options, I would not buy a dining package. I'll link to my other video here and in the description about 7 specific cases when buying an unlimited dining package is just not the best idea, and this happens to be one of them. On a 7-day sailing on this ship, I think it's better to buy a couple of separate dinners and a lunch or two, and then also enjoy a variety of included and specialty dining restaurants. And if you want to see all the amazing free food options on this ship, then check out this video next. And coming up shortly, I'll have that full Lincoln Park Supper Club review, and I'll link it here too, where I will go over every course and cocktail from that $200 experience, so you can decide if that's something that you would like to do yourself. Thank you for watching.